students find their future, that dream job. Where do they see themselves in the next 5, 10 years? We want to make sure that their college journey matches with their future goals. Two main topics that we're going to cover is the summer timeline before senior year, and how that 95 days, how we're 95 days away from application season, and what that looks like for you during the summertime, and also 6 ways to maximize your summer. So how can we make sure that this summer, for starting June, July, and half of August, how can that set you up for success or set your students up for success? Or for everybody in the room, how confident do you feel about college planning? Right. So 40% said very prepared. Another 40% said somewhat prepared, and 20% said not prepared at all. That is completely okay. That is completely fine. We can help you out no matter which area you are in. If you're very prepared, all we're doing is dotting those T's and crossing those I's for you. If you're somewhat prepared, we'll show you where some of those questions that you may have or concerns, we can help you and support you in that. And if you're not prepared at all, we have a complete plan to help you prosper. All right. Okay. We are gonna go into who our speakers are today. Again, I'm the host, Christina Brandon, College Planning Manager of Class 101. And today we have the dynamic duo powerhouse, Mimi and Mike O'Leary from Treasure Coast in Florida, near Stuart, Florida. So without further ado, Mimi and Mike, please introduce yourselves. Let them know a little bit about you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mimi O'Leary. My husband Mike and I own Class 101 Treasure Coast. Like Christina said, it is near Stuart, Florida. We are very happy to be here today. We have been doing college planning for 7 years here in our area. We have helped hundreds of students with their college applications, and we know that summertime is a really important time for any grade of high school student, including a rising ninth grader, to work on items that could later be an integral part of their application. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of go over some ways that you can work to improve your application without even maybe realizing it, especially if you're in the younger grades. So, we're going to go over some different benefits, some tips, and we've got 6 main points that we're going to cover. Summer is going to be a great time to maximize our college opportunities. I know that many of you are thinking, we just want to get done with school. And that's great. That's what you should be focusing on. You need to end the semester strong, right? But once the semester ends, hopefully you're going to have more free time. And we want to give you some ideas of things you can do during that time. Now, if you are a senior, you're not early, but you're not too late. There are plenty of things that you can do in the immediate next couple of weeks even to feel like you are on the path to applying for college. So let's go over some of the key benefits to using summertime to your advantage. Okay. Now, obviously, you can see these 6 points here. The first one, finding the best schools. You do not have to go tour every school before you apply there. Okay. But what you want to do is you want to visit colleges and get an idea of what you want in a school. Do you want a big school or a small school? Do you want to be close to home, or is the distance not that big of a factor? If you know what you want to major in, you want to see what kind of programs they have for that major. Some of you might want to study abroad. You might want to do a fraternity or sorority. You might want to be in student government. All those things, you want to start investigating colleges and see if they have the opportunities that you're looking for. Other things we're going to talk about is your resume, your test scores, and how to become an overall competitive applicant. So let's move on and let's talk about the 6 ways to power up this summer. So the first way we're going to talk about is building your top 10 college list. Now, way back when, I did something that I tell my students not to do no matter what. Don't just follow your friends to college. Okay. That's what I did. And I ended up transferring because back in the day, college planning wasn't really as much of a thing. And now, especially with the internet and with virtual visits, you can do so much investigating ahead of time that you should really put in the time to determine what colleges are going to be the best fit for you. Okay. Um, these items on the screen, distance, location, cost, size, major, all of those things are going to be a part of the school you're going to go to that you're going to want to understand and determine if it's the right fit for you. And I really like that cost is in the middle there because to me, that is one of the most important things you're going to want to think about and discuss with your family. So, college is an investment for the whole family. And the more you work to have a strong application, the more likely you're going to be able to earn some scholarship money or some merit-based money from the schools. If you live in a state like Florida, like we do, we have a state-sponsored scholarship called Bright Futures, where you can earn money based on your test score and your GPA. So, knowing these things ahead of time can really help you determine your college list. Going on from there, let's talk about your resume. So, when we talk about a resume, we are talking about an academic resume of your extracurricular activities. Now, an extracurricular can be a club, a sport, it could be volunteering, it could be a job, it could even be a hobby. Okay. All of those things can go on your college application, but we are talking about things that you spend a serious amount of time on that you enjoy. And we want you to be not only like a member of a club, okay, but we want you to try to show leadership. You can see on this screen that colleges are looking for leaders, and ideally, we would like you to have 10 activities and 5 honors. Now, we're talking about through the course of your high school career. We're not saying go join 10 activities, and just sign up for everything just to have them to list on there. What we're talking about is we want the college admissions office to be able to look at your resume and really get to know who you are as a person. Okay? We never tell our students to sign up for a club just to say that they did it, just to write it on the list. We want our students to find activities that they enjoy and that could possibly help them determine what career they want. We have kids that we work with that are, pre-med or somebody who wants to go to law school or some kids who have no idea what they want to do, and that is totally fine. But we explain to them that the more they invest time in learning about these interests, or if they don't know what they want to do, try to invest time like shadowing in different careers or getting an internship one summer in one field they're interested in, and then the next summer do something else. Um, all of these things would go on your college resume, your academic resume, and they would help the student determine what they see their future including. So we want you not only to get involved, but ideally, we would like you to find something you're interested in and even go a step further. So now we're going to talk about Eva. So Eva was a student who graduated from high school last year. She was a student here that we worked with locally, and she really liked to bake. During probably late sophomore year, she was talking about baking and how much she enjoyed it. And we were kind of joking. She said, if I could just own a bakery, I would be so happy. So she did just that. She created a business. She licensed her business with the state. It was called the Coastal Crumb Bakery. And that set her application apart. Okay. When we talk about leadership, we're not just saying, it has to be the captain of a team or the president of a club. This is a perfect example of leadership. She created a business. She created a business card. She made a business plan. She learned how to label her ingredients. She learned how to, um, you know, bookkeeping to keep the books when she sold. She rented a spot down at the local farmers market. And on Saturdays, she would go there and she would sell her baked goods. This on her college application was a huge part of making her stand out. We've also had kids who are great musical, they play instruments. They love music. So we've had them go to senior residences and entertain the senior citizens that live there. We have had kids who um, want to create a fundraiser to donate to local charities. We have a local place here for children who are no longer living with their parents, and we have two girls here who did a clothing drive and gathered socks and underwear that were donated, and they took them all there. There's a lot of things you can do, okay? It doesn't have to be join a club like everybody else is, even though you don't want to. But these things that you do, even if it's, ninth grade, is going to go on your college application and it's going to make an impact. We've talked about the resume. Now we're talking about planning for test prep, okay? The SAT, the ACT, the CLT, which is a new test called the Classical Learning Test. Those are all tests that you can take to apply to college. Now, there are some schools that are test optional, and we have people ask us about those a lot of times, but I want you to know that even if a school is test optional, it is to your advantage if you take the test and get your score as high as you can and ideally send it in with your application. Okay. So test prep is practicing. It's just like if you were playing an instrument or playing a sport, you would practice. So for the SAT or the ACT or the CLT, you should plan to practice. So our slide here talks about knowing your baseline score. Okay. Go take the test. The SAT is available, the ACT, so is the CLT. You want to take the test and really see what your baseline score is, like your starting point, and you want to figure out what areas you need to work on. At Class 101, we call those your top 10 trends. Trends is another word for weaknesses, and you want to work to improve those skills. Now, a lot of times with students, they don't do well in the math on the out because there's algebra 1, and if they are, middle of junior year, they might have taken algebra 1 in 8th grade or ninth grade. They just don't remember it. So it's just practicing and getting rid of the cobwebs in your brain, and you'll be able to get those algebra questions correct. There's a lot of grammar questions on those tests. You learned grammar probably in elementary school. So reviewing your weaknesses and really trying to understand where you're making your mistakes is going to help you improve your score. And people do take these tests numerous times. You don't just take it one and done. Most people don't take it only 2 times. You are allowed to super score at the majority of the schools. That means your highest reading and your highest math for the SAT on different dates, those can be combined, and that's your super score. So just know as a junior that this would be the time, especially if you're in finishing junior year. If you have not taken a test yet, you should plan to do so. So this slide is showing you the registration dates for the SAT or the ACT. If the June SAT, it is the first Saturday in June is the test. The deadline to register is May 22nd, and you would do so on collegeboard.org. Okay. For the SAT in August, the test is late August. Okay. They let everybody start school and get settled, and then there's the SAT. So to register for that test, you want to do so by August 5th. It's not even open yet for you to register in August. So just know that once summertime gets here, you would go on collegeboard.org and you would create your account and register. Now, if you want to take the ACT, there is an ACT in June and there is an ACT in July. You can see here where the registration dates are. Okay. For the June test, you need to register by May 8th. And for the July test, you need to register by June 5th. You might be wondering, what if I don't know which test to take? Okay. It is a great idea to take one of each and see which test you prefer. There's no rule that you have to stick with one or the other. We recommend that you take the SAT and the ACT, you choose which test you prefer, and then you stick with that test because hopefully you're going to practice and you're going to improve your score. But it is more difficult to do that if you go back and forth between the SAT and the ACT because they are different. So you want to register beforehand, make sure you're all set, and those are the dates to do that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand this over to Mike. And Mike is going to talk about some other ideas of things you can do in the summer to help you prepare to apply to college, whether you're a rising senior or even as a ninth, 10th, or rising 11th grader. So, Mike, you can take it from here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike O'Leary. I'm Mimi's business partner and life partner, and coming up on 36 years of wedded bliss later on this month, later on in June. Um, so I'm going to talk about exploring careers now. The summertime is a great time because you're not challenged with the day-to-day grind of school to try to explore different things that you might be interested in studying and even working in after you finish college. Many teenagers are not really sure, and so this is a great time for exploration. You can see some ideas up there on the screen. Um, it's a chance for you to develop your interests and your passions. There are many summer camps, a lot of universities offer them, where you can identify if you're interested in a career in STEM, for example, or if you want to get involved in scientific research, or if you are interested in business or in politics. These are all examples of the different types of summer camps that are available at universities. There's also even summer college programs that will give you an opportunity to earn college credit. Those can be pricey sometimes. You don't necessarily have to do that, but just a good old-fashioned summer camp that is focused instead on a career exploration is a great idea. Now, job shadowing is something that you can do right in your town. And odds are that you have within your family network people that work in different career fields that might be of interest to you, getting an opportunity to spend some time at a dentist office or at a stockbroker's office or all these different potential careers would be a great way for you to explore during the summer. It might be to just do even an informational interview with somebody that's in a career field that you find to be interesting. Ask them what it's like. Ask them what the school requirement and the training requirement was. All of these things are great opportunities for you to develop important skills. And let's not forget the good old-fashioned part-time job, summer job. These are great ways for you to make money, but also to develop key skills that will help you throughout the rest of your life. For the rising 12th graders, those seniors, between now and the end of your school year, it's a great time for you to ask teachers for letters of recommendation. Many universities require letters of recommendation, and also many scholarships will require letters of recommendation. And the catch is that the good teachers, or the teachers that are going to be the most descriptive, it seems like everybody knows who they are and they can get overwhelmed with requests. So if you're planning ahead, you can be near the front of their line and you'll improve greatly the chances that you'll get a meaningful letter. So some key things to think about with these teachers is number one, are they from one of your core academic courses? English, math, social studies, science. Are they good communicators? Have you developed a rapport with them? Maybe they've been an advisor in one of your clubs or a coach. But the key thing is that for most universities, they're looking for an academic subject. It's best if they were a teacher that you had sophomore or junior year. Now, I always like to select the English teachers because I think the likelihood of them being able to write well is better than some of the other teachers that you might think to ask. But the most important thing is, do you have a good rapport with them? We want is for you to be an example that's on the right-hand side, where you've got a long letter, the teacher's taken some time to include some individual elements from your own resume. Ideally, you've given them a copy of that resume so that they have a better understanding and remember all these great attributes that you've accomplished during high school. As opposed to the letter that's on the left. And the letter that's on the left, where it's sort of a fill in the blank, that's the one that the teacher fills out 3 days before the deadline in the fall in a rush, the 30th that they might have done that day. You don't want to be that person on the left. You want to be the example that's further on the right. Okay, we want to talk about college essay. And for the seniors, this is probably one of the most important things that you can do this summer. And that is to get started on your personal statement. So most universities are going to look for a 650-word personal statement. If you're filling out the Common App or the Coalition app, there's an opportunity to do a personal statement. Many universities, even if you fill out the university's own application, they're going to be looking for a personal statement. And what I really want you to think of in this essay is that this is your voice in the process. This is a chance for you to become a real person to that application or that admissions committee at the university. It's the best way for them to get to know you. Now, there's this thing going around, and we've heard it for years, that students feel like their personal statement needs to be some sort of heroic Superman overcame big obstacles, overcame a setback. There needs to be some sort of conflict that they resolve. That's really not the case. And in fact, the goal is for this personal statement to just let us know more about you. And so, and let us know about your personality. So what we recommend is that you set yourself a goal to have finished the personal statement before the first day of school in the fall. For here in Florida, that's August 10th. For students in the Northeast United States, they may go back after Labor Day. But in any case, you're going to be busy at the start of your 12th grade year. If you're in a fall sport, you're going to be doing applications probably and getting back to senior year. And so if you can take care of this very important part of the application process during the summer, you will be very grateful. And one other thing is that when the applications open on August 1st, as Christina said, 95 days from today, you're probably going to find that you have to write several supplemental essays. And so the prompts for those are not always known ahead of time. So by taking care of the personal statement in the summertime, you're working ahead using the time that's available to you now. What we want to do is talk about how you can help make the most of the summer. And so we have these checklists. Talk about is the checklist for the 9th through the 11th graders. And there are 6 items on the checklist. So we encourage you to start off by reflecting on how you did this last academic year. And we want you to set goals for how you're going to take advantage of the summer. Maybe those goals include some campus visits, helping to develop your college list, exploring careers. So that segues into the next items on this checklist. If you can get a good start on developing your college list, investigating some schools, maybe you do some research on the internet, maybe you have a chance to do some visits. And then also while you're doing that over the summer, explore some careers, either going to a summer camp or doing some job shadowing, and finally getting involved. So this is a great way to add to the resume that Mimi talked about. If you can get involved in your community, you might be too young to actually have a job, but you probably can do some volunteering, whether it's with a local nonprofit or with your church or some other group. Many students that we work with act as camp counselors for summer camps, and they get either volunteer hours or in some cases they're paid. But either way, this is a great opportunity for you to develop those leadership skills, get a chance to explore some of your interests, and probably have some fun along the way. So now Mimi's going to talk about the next checklist.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So this checklist is for the seniors. All right. So yes, you have a little bit more of a time crunch. So this is an outline for what you're going to want to pay attention to doing. We talked about the college list. Create a list of schools that you want to apply to. In our office this year for the class of 2026, we had an average of 6.5 applications per student. There's no real right or wrong number, but remember, don't apply to too few that if it doesn't work out, you don't have options. Okay. Campus visits, you can always go visit the schools. Summertime is a good time, but if you do go in the summer, just keep in mind that the school is going to be a lot more exciting on a school day. You might say, I'm here, but it looks really boring. Well, you're here in the summer. So look at the campus, get a feel for it, and if you're really excited about it, maybe plan to go back again in the fall. Work on your resume, especially if you don't have a lot to put on there. Okay. Now is the time to ask for recommendations. 1 to 2 of your teachers. Now, there are schools, like Mike said, especially many public schools, that will not ask or take recommendation letters. They don't have the bandwidth to read them. But scholarship applications oftentimes want a recommendation letter. So don't feel like I don't need one because of where I'm applying. It's always a good idea to ask. Start working on test prep, especially if you haven't, taken the test or if you've only taken it once. And really important is to work on your college essay. Get it done. You're not going to write a good essay during the fall after you've had a full day of school, maybe sports practice, maybe a game, then dinner, then homework, then trying to write an essay. It's not going to be as good as if you take the time this summer. So hopefully these recommendations are helpful to you and kind of give you an outline or a checklist, pardon the pun, for what you should be doing this summer and, how to organize your thoughts.
Awesome. All right, guys, this does wrap up towards the end of our conversation. We want to let every student, every advisor know, every parent that you've got this, right? We are here to help and support you. We want to know if you're ready to take on that challenge, if you've already taken on a challenge. And for the test prep results, it 100%, the five that reported said they've already had a jump on test prep, which is amazing.
That's great.
So we are excited to hear that. Um, if you are interested in, connecting with Class 101, go ahead and contact your local Class 101. And you can do that by visiting class101.com/locations to see the nearest location near you. If you see like, hey, there's not one close to me, go ahead and email that info@class101.com and we can meet with you virtually. So there's never a time that we can't support you in any situation. So definitely take a chance on that. Ask questions, even if it's just to ask questions. We're here no matter what. So that does wrap up our session for today. Have a great evening, and I hope you gained something from our session today.